On the 10th of December 2018, the Geneva Centre and the World Council of Churches organised a conference on the theme of Education for Peace in a multi-religious context at the United Nations office in Geneva. The aim of this conference was to discuss how education for peace can engage different stakeholders to counter violent extremist narratives, build peaceful and inclusive societies, as well as to promote universally shared values upheld in diverse faiths.
Holding the present meeting very much with the blessing of our dear friend, His Royal Highness Prince Al-Hassan bin Talal, who asked me to convey the following message to all of you. He said, "We unite our voices today to promote education as a vector for enabling diversity to be understood as an asset wherein minds meet into shared aspirations at the national level and beyond as a gateway to peace."
Religion remains the single most influential factors in the values of most people around the world. To nurture change at the deepest level, therefore, we believe we must enlist the power of religion and religious commitment in the service of human dignity and human rights.
The aim of today's conference will be to discuss how education for peace in multi-religious societies can engage different stakeholders to counter violent extremist narratives, build peaceful and inclusive societies, as well as to promote universally shared values upheld in diverse faiths and value systems.
Religious and lay leaders of different faiths have a responsibility to correct the unscrupulous misrepresentations of the values of beliefs for vested interests, and to harness the power of faiths for peace building. The synergies of providing access to education built on common universal values of world faiths makes a strong contribution towards the realization of social stability and peace. The panelists agreed that equal access to education can open vital spaces for cooperation and help lift the veil of ignorance that has befallen many societies.
Pope Francis notes that, I quote, "Fraternity is an essential human quality, for we are relational beings. A lively awareness of our relatedness helps us to look upon and to treat each person as a true sister or brother. Without fraternity, it is impossible to build a society and a solid and lasting peace."
The teachings of Islam can offer a basis upon which education for peace can be a driving force, a path in the efforts to address radicalization.
In the Hindu tradition, the dignity of every human being flows from the equal presence of God in everyone. There are no exceptions to this core teaching. It is the source of the respect and reverence for all beings and the reason that all must be accorded equal rights.
Our goal is unity, not uniformity. Unity can come out of the celebration of diversity. We have many commonalities, but we must also respect our differences.
Education today in a multi-religious world needs to challenge divisions that create distance with the other. It must also empower youth to embrace diversity and to build learners' resilience among youth to address divisive and xenophobic narratives that prevail in modern societies. This requires a reconceptualization of our education system as it stands today. The panelists offered their compelling insights and recommendations on how to achieve this noble aim.
I believe we should be speaking about education for peace building rather than peace education. as it is education as a whole that needs to be reinvented and reimagined to respond to the multiple ethical challenges of our societies.
It's not only about learning, it's about educating, and it's about synergizing the content with the pedagogical nature of the learning. So that's critical for us to keep in mind.
Children in the Center is a concept of my work that I established, launched in 1999, and it's built on a strong belief in the autonomy of children, their will and capacity to discover, learn, and create.
Strategic foresight I recommend to you because we know that if we adopt the mindsets and approaches that have brought us to this point, we're unlikely to be able to make the step change that's needed to reimagine education and what that means for the generations who will follow.
In the interactive dialogue session that was held after the panel statements, the permanent representatives and observers of inter alia, the United Arab Emirates, Lebanon, and the Organisation of Islamic Cooperation highlighted the importance of education in promoting peaceful and inclusive societies. The participants agreed that education constitutes an important building block to address violent extremism, intolerance, and harness unity in diversity.
Allow me to take this opportunity to stress the attachment of my country to the teaching of the values of peace and tolerance through citizenship educational programs.
It is difficult to come to peace, tolerance, to the utmost optimal level of peace and tolerance without some factors that should help education as well.
Some people are of the view that religions uphold collective rights at the detriment of the individual ones. They claim that the focus on collective rights impede the realization of the individual rights, and even some UN special rapporteurs are also relaying this idea.